Sup flappers, welcome back to another video, and I think it's time to talk about this, right? Baal, the Electro Archon, right? What are some of the expectations for her? What you should be expecting, what you could be expecting, and how she likely will stack up to the current rosters of characters. So I hope this video will help you get a better grasp for not just how Baal is going to be in relation to the game, but also miHoYo's train of thought essentially on how they likely will have to balance Baal and the reasoning behind why Baal likely will end up being extremely powerful. So if you are relatively new to the game or joined Genshin Impact, midway through this year or earlier this year, you likely have missed a couple events leading up to the current state of the game. So with that said, like, subscribe if this video helps you, and let's get right into it. So first and foremost, let's talk about the expectations for Baal and her power level. Let me just be very clear right out of the gate. She is going to be strong. I mean, very strong. Why? Because she simply has to be this way, right? The standard has been set, and just like Zhongli and Venti, Baal will have to perform to the level that the players expect an Archon should be. Now, I understand that canonically, I'm not going to spoil it for you, but there are certain reasons maybe Baal is not to her full power. But the same goes for Zhongli. Like, these characters, they're gods. They're gods living in the mortal realm. It doesn't matter how limited they are, right? They're still gods. With how accurately miHoYo has been also able to pinpoint the current power scaling of all the characters, there is without a shadow of a doubt that Baal is going to be properly scaled to the current state of both Zhongli and Venti. And if you have ever seen these two characters perform in the game, you should be able to get a very accurate representation of how Baal likely will be performing and scaling. And let me tell you, miHoYo likely will not want to have a pre-buff Zhongli situation where they would need to buff Baal post-release. They will not want a riot on their hands, right? They had one from the CN players, and it's just going to be disastrous if they get another one from the JP players. Speaking from the business perspective, Japan is essentially a big cash cow for miHoYo. Just like how Zhongli symbolized China, Baal will be representing the nation of Japan. Now, miHoYo will not risk offending one of the largest gacha nations, being Japan. Baal will likely use a spear, also as shown in her boss fight. So for people wanting to pull for the Mist Splitter Reforged to get yourself a nice shiny booba sword, I highly advise against it. Right? Much like the child boss fight, Baal may have different forms as demonstrated during her boss fight, but her primary weapon will likely be a spear. This is also because miHoYo likely want to make it more difficult for us to pair recent weapons with characters. They will not release two characters of the same weapon type so close to one another, just like how they want to make sure that every new character gives us a breath of fresh air. They want to make sure the weapon types that follow each banner are going to be different, and they kind of just cycle through all the weapons, over a long period of time. Now, this is a reason that is driven purely by business and income. So I hope you guys understand that I am not saying Baal will 100% be a spear user. I'm just saying miHoYo already designed the spear animations. They already have an entire combat sequence with the spears. It's gonna be kind of a waste if they just don't use it, right? I was talking about the child boss fight, right? Child's phase 1 boss uses a bow. Sure, we don't get to use any of the skills that the child boss uses during the fights, but guess what? When Child came out, he was using a bow, right? We had this conversation before when Child was going like, wow, right? Hey, we saw him using a spear, like he has this like hydro spear. Is he going to be a spear character? Well, guess what? He was not a spear character. He was a bow character, and he had a spear stance. Just like Child, Baal will likely be using a polearm with maybe a sword stance. So now with that said, if you are currently a new player to the game, a returning player, or a veteran, it's safe to say that Baal will yield you the best bang for your buck when it comes to premium currency value. Currently, I even want to say that Baal likely will even exceed a potential Ganyu rerun. Yes, I'm pushing Bao up really high because honestly, I think MiHoYo learned their lesson. They're not going to make the same mistake. They're just going to scale Bao to Zhongli, to Venti, and just call it a day, right? They're going to reap in their income, going to rake in all that cash. There's no need for MiHoYo to make this any more complicated than it has to be. Well, for people now thinking that, well, Walrus, I think meta is cringe. I never pull for characters because they are strong. I pull for characters because I love them. So please, allow me to enlighten you that Bao currently is just exploding in all community polls. It doesn't matter whose channel I'm looking at. It doesn't matter who Bao is up against. She is winning by like miles. She has doubled any of the second options. Bao is a very popular character. I think even before she was even teased, people were talking about, oh, the Electro Archon. So Bao is extremely popular. And what is going to be the cherry on top is that we are also expecting there to be an Electro change. Yes, do expect a bump in Electro power for patch 2.1 due to the fact that we're not only just getting one new Electro character, but two. So we are getting both Bao and Sarah. We may see a surge in power for all Electro units. Now, am I saying that there are going to be big changes for Electro? Are they going to change the entire landscape of Electro? No. I think it'd be smart of us to not expect a big change, but most likely small tweaks. I don't think there's going to be any major changes to reactions. I don't think there's going to be any major changes to the resonance. If there are going to be changes, it's likely going to be little tweaks here and there to make Electro more comfortable to use and more welcoming for players and just overall more accessible, as opposed to reanimating how Overload works or rescaling certain numbers for Superconduct or Electro Charge, for example. However, I'm not saying that it cannot happen. I just don't think MiHoYo likely will pour that much resource into redesigning a character, into redesigning an entire element, when likely they will just find solutions through individual characters and just being creative with how characters' kits interact with other characters. Because if all else fails and no Electro changes end up happening, then we can expect high scaling numbers, right? That's the easiest way MiHoYo can just make a character more desirable. It's just give them incredible scaling. And currently, Electro characters already have some of the best scaling in the game, and they're essentially just hindered by the fact that they're Electro. So with that said, I hope this video gives you guys some insight, help you understand exactly what's going to be happening with Bao. For people who are newer to the game, you kind of got a glimpse as to what happened before with Zhongli and the previous Archon, leading up to now, hoping MiHoYo is not going to make the same mistake, so we can all enjoy Bao and just drool over that sweet Booba Sword animation. So, like I said in the beginning, this video has helped you out. Like, subscribe. Hope to see you in the next video. And until then, stay safe and peace.